basically advanced economy, advanced science, and if there's a brown one with a star in, advanced materials. And I'll come on to technology. But as I said, at the end of the round, the more cubes you get out of certain things, the more money and science and all that I have. So the exploration. So
these numbers that get revealed, do they represent
how much
income,
you'll
so to
get?
speak?
Yeah, exactly. And this is how much you start with. So pink is science, orange is money, brown is materials. And basically, through the game, you'll take cylinders off here and place them on the actions that you want to take. And easiest one to start with is exploration. So basically, you stick one there, and how many of that action you can take is down below. So you can do one explore. Some races might be able to do it twice. And what you do is you choose an empty space for that you've got a wormhole link on your system, and the number is which pile you'll take it off. And basically, center ones will have things guarding it, which you'll have to fight and destroy before you can get in there. Generally, there might be a couple that aren't. 2 is kind of in the middle, might have one guardian, sometimes it won't. 3 generally be empty, but sometimes you'll have one, maybe even 2 planets. But there's a finite amount of these tiles, as you can see. So let's start off with exploring one in this action. So you'd say, I'm going to go here. You say where you're going to go. Then you get the tile, flip it, and then it's up to you which way you kind of face it. So you can make it line up, have to line up here at least, because that's where you're coming from. And you can line up other ways. You can kind of make it.
I assume you have to take from the left to the right with your discs here. These.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So you're slowly, and basically the orange button is how much you'll have to pay at the end of the round. So you'll get 3 income. You've always got 3 here. So you can basically, at the moment, you can afford up to 6. So you could take all of these cylinders off, and you'll be fine, right? So we're still on the exploration. There's no guardians. There's usually.
Tell me.
No.
How do I add up to 6 again? 6 of any of these?
Yeah, sorry. So for money, we're looking at 3, and then we're starting with 3.
Right.
So at the end of this round, you'll basically get the 6, and then whatever number is revealed at the top here, if we've used all these cylinders, we would spend 5 for that one, so it would go down to 1. Does that make sense? Kind of thing. So yeah, you start with 3.
Can you guys hear?
Get the 3. You all right, mate? And then you spend whatever this orange number is, and it would go down. If you spend too much and you don't have enough money, then you'll have to take a disc from somewhere else, probably a system, and put it out so it covers so that you've only got the 5 and you don't have to spend as much. So you can kind of go bankrupt and then start an emptying system.
And just so I understand the order, is this income at the beginning or the end of the turn?
It's at the end of the round. So we'll do actions until we decide to stop, and then we'll pass. And it'll keep. Once everybody's passed, then it'll end.
Got it.
In general terms, there's a little bit extra to that, but yeah. So exploration. Yeah, get the 1 tile, choose where you're going to go, and then because there's nothing guarding it, you can automatically decide whether you want to put a disc out to say that you own it. And obviously, this is coming from here again, so this is going to be adding to your cost. Say you want yes, and because you said yes and you own the system, you can then decide whether you want to put cubes out. And to put cubes out, flip 1, 2 to put 2 out, and this one matches the orange one, so let's put 1 out there. And they haven't got the little star on, so you're not blocked because of technology. And that one's a science one, so nice one. You got 2 discs out. So okay, you've got less discs to play with, but you can spend 4. You started with 3, didn't you? So you can basically, you've got a 7 up to. You can go up to there before you start having to worry about returning discs. So that's that one. To give you a little overview of 2, maybe the next turn you come around, you can do explore again. You can do as many times as the same one. Just put it on top, put the cylinder out. Let's go for a 2 on this side. Let's choose there. Okay, so this one's got I'll have a symbol for ancients or something guarding it. This one's got a discovery tile. Discovery tiles are
And so you're exploring from the home system, and that's why you had to connect this wormhole here.
Or a system you control, so you could go from there. You don't necessarily need ships out, although you do start. I don't know why it's not on there already.
Just so long as just so long as you'd connect that image with whatever system you're traveling from, right?
Yeah, and you control the system next to it.
Right.
Yeah, you have a cylinder on the system next to it. So this one gives you a discovery tile. Discovery tiles generally got cool stuff. This one, as an example, has got a one-off machine part of your ships, which will come on to the upgrade in a minute. I'll stick it on there. Or you can keep it as points, and that'd be 2 points at the end of the game. So
Nice.
it's up to you, And there's not many points. Yeah, go for it.
Sorry. Yeah, you can also explore from where you have a ship, by the way.
Yes, sorry, yeah. Yeah, you don't have to own it. Yeah, that's right. And then like this system, again, you can choose whether you put a disc out or not. Maybe you don't want to because it's drain your economy having the disc out. But at the same time, if you do have the disc out, you might think, oh, I'm not going there. But yeah. But that's explore in general. You just pick where you go and then you put your tile out. The next one is research, and that's the technology discs. Technology at a time. You start with this is your kind of research technologies here. They come in 3: military, grid, and nano. You start with star bases, and that's the ability to build these things. And because you've got 1 technology on there, the next one in pink you can reduce the cost. Basically, on these tiles, this is the normal cost of 4. And the 3 is the minimum. So if you got another one that had 4 and 3 on it, you would only have to pay 3 if you put it there. So technologies here at the beginning of each round. I can't remember how many the player counts, but a certain number for different player counts of technologies will be randomly drawn from the technology bag and come out. So you've got everything from better engines, hull, dice manipulation, because basically all the battle's done through dice, extra discs, power to power all the other parts.
Yeah, there's not some
so forth.
If you look at it. If you look at the symbology, they'll actually tell you a sneak peek, like as Stu, I think, Stu, you were saying, these things, I don't have a hand, but if Stu moves his hand over improve hold, you see how there's a little symbol next to the price? That says that it's a ship part. So that everything that has that little symbol it's correlated to that action. As you can see that the starbase has that little symbol of build. It's correlated to the build action.
Nice.
And you can even see the energy cost if you look very carefully.
Is it lines?
Yeah, it's that little lines there. So the cost on computer will cost 1, but we're playing a big game. I mean, you can always glance down here, right? Like if you go all the way down, you can kind of like glance at how much energy it costs. But hey, sorry for interrupting your speech.
No problem, mate.
Yeah, but the symbology, if you can get the symbology down, like everything else will click in place.
Just speed it up and that, yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, you remember the advanced stuff? So advanced brown, advanced yellow, advanced pink ones. These are the technologies there. As you can see, they're not out at the moment. And as I said, you've got the cost and then the minimum cost, even though you can reduce the cost of stuff.
So just to demonstrate, if you take that action, do you physically take one of these tiles? You take the tile.
Yeah, so at the moment, you've started with 3.
Uh-huh.
You've got 3 science to spend, so I don't think there's anything you can afford at the moment. You've got these rare technologies, but essentially, where are you?
Neutral bombs. Neutral bomb. I don't have a
neutral bombs. Yeah. So in this mod, you should just click it. So if you left click over it, is it your go?
Just click. Just click it.
There we go.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, clicked it, and then it automatically goes onto your board, and then you just make sure you pay 2.
And tell me one more time, the smaller number means if I have more than one of them, I only have to pay that cost?
No. So it's where you put it on the track. So this one can't be reduced by cost, but say if you got a technology that costs 5 and it had the little number was 3, and you put it here, then you pay 5 minus 2, which is 3. So yeah, you could put it there. And if it's a pink one, it would only cost you 3 instead of 5. Does that kind of make sense?
And so I couldn't put a 5 and 3 here though, because this says -3?
No. So you just take 3 away from the cost of the big number, But the little number is just saying the minimum you have to pay, even though you can reduce it by 3.
Minimum. Got it.
Yeah.
I didn't get that at first.
Bit roundabout. No, you're right.
And
roundabout way.
And so if I took this neutron bomb tile, that is something that I've deprived of other players. They can no longer grab that.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Nice.
Like the ship part, if you click on the improved hull one as an example, just click on that.
Sure.
It's not... There you go. So this is the ship part, and that'll bring me up to the next one, which is upgrades. You've got access to kind of standard ones, which are like standard web basic upgrades without technology. But by researching stuff like improved tools, as an example, you can do upgrade 2 of your ships. So basically all these ships at the top correlate with all of the ships that you've got out. At the moment, you've got 1 interceptor on the board. So if you add several interceptors on the board, if you upgrade that interceptor with an improved hull, that would affect all of them, and vice versa for all the other ships.
So this might be a dumb question, but so this tile here, is this, when it's placed here, is it affecting these ships, or this is only now?
No, not until you upgrade. So researching it makes it available, and then the upgrade action means you can actually put it onto your ship. You actually physically
This is like the blueprint.
Yeah.
You need tech. You need the tech
exactly.
to improve it.
But that's that symbology they were saying.
And so this is only one tile. So if I research it, I only get
one tile.
No.
So you can do multiple upgrades. So you can do this action lets you do 2 upgrades. And so you can do the same ship twice, or you can do 2 different ships once.
So once I research it, I can. As long
you
as
can keep using it.
Wow.
Yeah, cool. You just keep going. It's all yours. You can fill everything with 2.
There's a rule though. With ships, you always need an engine, and you need a source, and then
yes.
I think Stu's going to carry on with that.
No problem. There's a lot to remember. So yeah, exactly. You need the power. So this power up. This needs 1. This needs 1, and this is your power source. You've got 3, so you've got 1 spare power. Say, for example, if you researched, I don't know, plasma cannon, you'd need to upgrade your power. And this is what I'm quite new to the game myself. Press B. There we go. Yeah, so like you put that there. That's 4 power, so you wouldn't be able to do that, right? You'd have to kind of put it there, or upgrade that power first, and put it somewhere else.
For an example, right? Like put that there. Could you put it back where you did it, Stu?
Yeah.
And then you can grab this. Like people, like, do you see how there is a basic? Can you give me a hand, actually, a color? Because
sorry, mate. I didn't realize you'd. There you go.
I feel like I'm some kind of ghost. Okay, now you can see my hand, right? So Stu was explaining, right? This is technology we always have. This is the basic tech. You can always upgrade your ship with the basic tech. So Stu just grab this. Do you see where we have like energy problem? So he's just gonna grab another nuclear. Now we have 6, right?
Yeah, or you could put it on top of the whole one like that, and have
you could be like, you know what?
Sorry guys. Just to clarify. Sorry, let's say this wasn't here. What you were saying before is this ship had 3 energy, but it was already using 1 for nuclear drive, 1 for ion cannon. So putting this here would have added a total of 4. So by putting it here, okay, I see what you're saying. So this would have been a total of 3.
Yeah.
And so here you're adding an extra source of energy, a total of 6 energy to give you more space to do other stuff. Can plasma cannons be put anywhere, or are certain spaces meant for certain types of tech?
You always need 1 power source.
Cover these, right? But you can cover any of these with anything.
Yeah, I mean, you can cover the power source if you've made another one somewhere else, But as long as you've got a power source and it powers everything, and you've got an engine, that's pretty much it.
Exactly.
So cool. Yeah, that's really neat.
Yeah. This is the most fun part of the game for many people. This one, so I'll come on to kind of battling in a minute, but basically that when you're attacking later in the game, you'd be rolling die, and they're basically 6-sided die, and you'd be rolling them, and a +1 will increase the number. So that roll there would make it a 4. That one would make it a 6, which would make so it has to be a 6. It has to end up as a 6 for a hit, and in this case, you would cause 2 damage to the other ship.
Right.
And that
6s always hits and 1s are always misses, regardless of the.
You've got other tech, which is like Gauss shields and stuff. Will take someone trying to hit you will reduce their die roll. So if they roll a 6 and they haven't got a computer like that, then it will reduce it down to 5.
No. Sorry, bro.
All right, no,
That's
no
not
worries.
right. Yeah, no, that's a 6 is always a hit, regardless of
Sorry.
computer.
Yes.
Yeah, computers
they had
are
a
just they will just improve your chances, and Gauss shields will actually neglect that. So, for
okay, so
example,
if it's a 5 and you got an electron
yeah,
computer, but they
let's
have
do
a
like a little
Gauss,
demo.
does it not stay a 5?
What do you mean? Like
So if they
if this was the case, let's say that this was the ship, and they rolled a 6.
I thought I mean like that kind of thing. You know, like they had a
If you
+1.
roll, this cancels. Like a Gauss shield cancels a computer, but it
Yeah.
doesn't cancel an 6.
It
That's what I'm
doesn't.
trying to say.
Okay, yeah. So if it's a 6, it's always a hit. If it's a 0,
And
it's always a miss.
and
Yeah.
yeah, if you have like what's an auto hit? Like let's say that you had I'm gonna make a bullshit ship real quick, right? Let's make a bullshit ship. So let's just say that this guy, he thought he was very clever, and he's like, "Hey, will always hit automatically." No, it doesn't work. If he rolls a 1 with his ship, it's regarded as a miss.
Yeah.
Even though that's just for.
So aside from 6s and 1s, do you just determine whether it hits or not based on defense versus offense number?
No.
Yeah, essentially, you just
Okay.
die. Yeah, and we'll come on to that anyway. So that was upgrading, building. The cost of the ships is in materials up here, and for you as a human, you can build 2 things, and you can build them anywhere that you have a blue discount that you control. I think that's the case.
Yeah, and one last thing. Sorry, this might be a lot of information, but this is very important in ships.
Yeah.
Do you see those little arrows here on every ship, right?
Yeah.
Normally, engines, drives will give you it, and the ship itself will have. That means the initiative. So, being able to shoot first is always beneficial in a fight, right? Because you can nail a hit. So in this case, if this little ship was fighting against this little ship, right? This one fighting against that one, the initiative would be his 3 against his 1, 2. So this ship would get first.
Not bad.
We could go in there, destroy him before he even fires. Yeah.
And did Stu also explain to you what how health works? Because
Well,
some
just
people get
before
that
you go into health, so essentially initiative, it never matters who enters a system and attacks first. It's always going to be initiative.
Well, that's a good question, because if we would share the same initiative, let's say that the ship went into a sector with another ship of the same same initiative, right?
Yeah.
The defender gets to shoot first. Then in that case, defenders always get to shoot first.
Oh wow. Okay.
And then there's one little special thing, but I don't want to overload you. Missiles, but we'll cross.
So far, I'm good. I'm good. Show me. Yeah, I'm good so far.
Well, missiles, and then because I'm not really a big fan of telling what all the tech does. I like to show plasma missiles is the only thing in fighting that's a little different. Missiles always get to shoot before combat, but it's a once-off. So before any combat starts, missiles shoot before combat's normal cannon shoot.
Is
So
there
for
any
example,
is there any symbology that will remind a player about that, just so I can remember?
Well, just the symbol of the missiles. If you just remember that missiles. Well, think about missiles. You just shoot a missile. It's a bomb, right? Like a cannon, you can keep shooting, right? You just have to reload.
Well, I guess they're the only one with that symbol, right? That orange symbol right there. So I guess that's what that is.
Yeah, just whenever something says missile, I guess you'll see that symbol. Yeah, just a missile.
They just fire one off. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, I'll go in, I was going to go into the battles and stuff like that once I've just done the actions.
Oh, my bad. Sorry, bro.
No, you're right, mate. I just wanted to do the actions before we because that's cool. Like you say, that's probably the most hardest thing to get your head around.
Yes, you're right. Yeah,
so I'll skip through these and then. So upgrading your ships, you get to do that twice, and then you can upgrade 2 ships of the same ship, and you've got to have the technology, but you can also do the basic upgrades. And then, like we said, building. You've got the cost of them. So
sorry. So this two here is what means you get to do 2 upgrades on that one action, right?
Yep. Like 1 research, 2 upgrades, 2 builds. You can build 2 things. Again, the cost of building is where your brown one, your materials come. So you've got 4. So at the moment, you can afford to build an interceptor. But this is probably a good point to just mention quickly trade in. So that's why the Terrans are quite a good beginner one, because you've got a good trading one. So you can trade at any time 2 of one resource for one of the other. So maybe you want to do 2 interceptors. You could take a risk and trade 1, 2 money, give yourself 1 materials, I don't know, and then 1 money and 1 science to give you another materials. So you then all of a sudden you take your build action, you could build 2 interceptors. Does that kind of make sense on the trade a little bit?
It makes sense. Is there any open trading between players, or is that not the case?
I wish.
Nah,
wish.
unfortunately not. There is a little to do with ambassadors, but I'll come on to that in a minute. But yeah, basically that's building, and you pay the cost, and you put them out on any way you've got a disc, and you control the system. Movement. So I'll just quickly do influence before we do movement. So basically, influence. Say for example, you didn't take this system. Later on, you come in there and you think, actually, I do want this system. Then you do that, and you can put a disc out for where you've got ships. I think that's the case. Or you're next to it. I have to double check that. I think it might either if you're next to it or you've got a ship. But yeah, I haven't actually ever done that myself. Movement. Yeah, so let's get a couple of ships out and do, like I said, kind of battle.
Here's a little example for you too with a higher initiative. This guy has not high initiative. He can move 2 spaces, as you can see his engine. So for your explanation just now.
Say for example, I don't know, some random number I've got here, and you want to do movement. So you can move 3 things, and the most they can move is dependent on the engine they've got. So your cruisers, you don't have any out at the moment, so you can move 2.
He does here.
Oh, he does. You put them out. Yeah, thanks, man. So you could move your cruiser twice, but you have to remember. So as soon as there's an enemy, they become what's called pinned. And you've got another 3 things you can move. So you could 1 there, but they're both pinned. There's 2, 1 ship for 1 ship. It doesn't matter what type of ship is. So you can pin people's dreadnoughts with a single interceptor and really annoy them and that kind of stuff. So it's a good kind of defense. But for example, if you only had the 1 ship in there, that's 1 pinned. You've got 1 movement, and the cruiser can move 2, so it could keep on going through because the interceptor's pinned. Kind of a roundabout way of explaining that.
So can you choose?
I can't.
So you can choose which one to be pinned, is what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so my cruiser could carry on into there or whatever. Yeah. So yeah, you've got 3 things, and the cruiser can move 2, and your interceptors can move 1 because of what engines are on. And then once everyone goes round, keeps doing actions, and if you get to a point where, like I said, you're watching your economy and you think, okay, I'm happy now, I've done everything I want to do, you just click pass. That flips this card. It doesn't mean it's completely over for you, because if nobody else passes, you've got these reactions, and that works the same, but they're just kind of simpler. They're kind of literally reactions to what's happened. Yeah, exactly. So you can do 1 upgrade, 1 build, or 1 move. And it still uses a cylinder, so again, bear in mind that kind of economy.
Expensive, man.
So yeah, what was this action again over here on the right?
That was putting discs out and colonizing basically systems you haven't put a disc out, and then you control it. Like in this one.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
how is that different than exploring?
It's
a place you already have explored.
Let's say that you're having an economic trouble, right? And this sector isn't giving you any resources. It's an empty space. It's worth 2 at the end of the game, right? But it's not giving you any resources now. It's actually costing you resources. Right now, you're paying 7, right? Now, with this action, you can bring things back or swap things around. Let's say that you had like ship here, and you can say this. I want to swap this one with that one. That's what you can do with influence action.
Oh, nice. Okay.
You can manage. Or you can even pull it back. You can pull back a sector.
Before you do.
Yeah, exactly.
You can do that twice. Yeah.
So by doing that, you no longer get whatever science or resources are on that space.
Exactly.
No, it will evacuate.
Yeah, you lose a cube. So yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Only people use the end of the game when, like, let's hypothetically say that this was the scenario. People do that at the end game, and then they play 1 last influence action just to drop down sectors to control. Do you get what I mean? So they can get those 3 points.
Yeah.
And mostly they'll use it, to be honest, for this action. This is what people normally will be using. You want to refresh that colony ships, right? because right now you can only colonize 3 planets in a turn. If you do the influence action, you're going to add another 2, so that will bring it up to 5 possible.
Might be worth it if you
colonies.
find a juicy system.
Yeah. By the way, I want to go back to the movement, but I didn't know. Maybe you said it. I
No, go for it,
didn't
mate.
hear
Yeah.
These are move activations, so you can also decide to move one ship 3 times or twice. You can be like 1, 2, and you're gonna say, "I want to activate this ship again." 1, and then I'll activate this ship. 1.
You know what? I
2.
didn't know that. I haven't played that much, so there we go.
Yeah, no. So you can tally up the activations to just see it as an activation order.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a pretty good one as well.
Yeah, that's really good to remember.
Last, you wanted to do a battle, but I think this might be a little. Let's just do like a little demo battle here, right?
Yeah,
Or-
definitely, mate. Go for it.
So wait, you were talking about movement, so you can move up to 3 per activation? Is that what you were
Yes.
saying?
Yeah, so you have to see the 3 activation move orders, right? So you can either move one ship 3 times, twice, or maybe once, or 2 ships, 2 different ship twice, and one other ship once. Do you get what I mean? Like,
Yeah, the amount it moves per activation is dependent on the engine. So your cruisers
Yeah.
can move. You can move that up to 6 spaces as long as it doesn't get pinned because it's got
do you
two
see
engine
this?
or 2.
So,
Do you see the
but-
engines?
Yeah.
Come and look here.
Yeah.
You see how the cruiser, for one move activation, the cruiser can move 2 spaces of known space. The interceptor, for one move activation, can move 1 space. Do you see that?
Right. But you're saying I can activate a ship, activate a different ship, and then go back to the first ship and activate it again as long as I still had movement
Yeah, if
to
you want
use?
to. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you still have activation, not movement.
For your
You
one
have,
disc,
like-
you got 3 movement actions.
Like if this was the end of that activation, and then you move with that guy, you can't be like, oh, I'm gonna still use that guy's last activation to move.
It would be a third
Then you have to-
activation.
Yes, exactly.
Got it,
yeah,
okay,
you have
cool.
to finish the activation.
All right. So once once everybody's passed, then that determines also the turn order for the next round. So if you pass first, you get 2 money as well, and you'll go first next round. So passing early can be sometimes a good thing. And once everyone's passed, then we do different phases. Upkeep phase. So combat phase comes straight after this. So in basically you start at number 3s in number order, then the 2s, and then the 1s. We do the battles in that kind of order. And then the battles, yeah. So yellow versus blue here.
So let's
Go
just say
for it.
that let's just say that the yellow ships have this one as well, the same blueprint, right? Is it Steve?
Yeah, Stu.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so Steve, check it out. The yellow ships have the same as the blue ships, right? And this is the blue ship, and that's the cruiser. So we'll first look at initiative. These little interceptors have 3 initiative, and this guy has 3, and this guy has 2, right? We've established that. We look at the initiative of this ship. We have 1, 2, 3, right? And this guy's 1, 2. Oh, this guy has also 3. You see that? So that's also interesting because that little engine gave him another boost there.
Yeah.
But that's regardless. Defenders always win ties. So in this case, yellow gets to shoot first, and then it's both of blue ships, right? Doesn't matter when. So yellow throws his dice. He needs to get 6s because he has no computers. So it's a very tough battle for this yellow player. So he rolls. Now it's the blue player. He rolls his orange dice and he rolls his yellow. This is customary. If you have 2 different ships that have 2 different type of stats, you have to roll them separately because in this case, yellow, well, the little ship rolls on 6s, and the medium ship rolls on 5s and 6s. Oh, hold on, he doesn't. Why do you think he got a computer, right? So this kind of cancels that little bonus out. So he's also just rolling on 6s. So this is going to be the worst tutorial ever, by the way. So you're gonna, you just roll. You keep rolling until somebody has a 6. Let's say hypothetically this guy rolled a 6, right? So he does 2 damage, but a cannon can only shoot 1 thing, so you can't tally up the damage, right? You can't be like, oh, I got 2 damage, so I'm gonna split the damage.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's not allowed. So you destroy this because this guy only has 1 health. Let's hypothetically say this guy had this upgrade, right?
Wait, where can you
Then
check health? Maybe I'm just missing something. Where's the health?
yeah, no health. A ship on its own has 1 health, right?
Okay,
All ships on its own have 1 health, and then you add up any hulls. You
got
see,
it.
it's a star symbol, shield. So in this case, with after knowing that knowledge, how many health do you think the cruiser has?
2.
The cruiser itself, exactly, you got it, man. So I don't even now you pretty much understand it. So the interceptor has 3. So in this case, if I would have attacked the interceptor now, the interceptor had this stats. He would get 2 damage, but he would still be in the fight, and then he would roll. He'd still.
Still
Computers are
miss.
such an essential thing to have, because it's just a roll fest. But let's hypothetically say you destroyed this and ended up destroying one of your ships too. Then what happened? We we look at get to draw reputation tiles, and this is one of the ways to win the game. A lot of people win games by fighting a lot. Because potentially fighting in early games, you're gonna get a lot of the juicy things. Reputation tiles in the bag. They are here. It's better to show you. Do. If you follow me here to the book, I want to just show you a picture. I mean, I could show you in the bag, but
Yeah, I see
I
the
wonder.
book.
Here,
Yeah.
you see how there's 4 reputation tiles of 4 points,
Right.
7 of 3, 10
Right.
of 2, and 12 of 1. So the earlier you get to fighting and drawing those reputation tiles, the higher chances are to drawing bigger, right? And the
So
bigger the fights,
so you draw
yeah,
one reputation for each
no,
one combat, or how
for
does that
here,
work?
hold on. No. Here, exactly. You get to draw for if you're in the battle and you didn't flee, you get 1 reputation tile. Then you see what did I destroy in the battle? Well, in this case, blue destroyed 2 interceptors, so he's getting +2, right? 1 for each interceptor. So he's drawing 3. Now, yellow destroyed 1 of your interceptor and was in a battle, so he's drawing 2. Because yellow's the defender,
Well,
defenders always get to draw.
so let me ask. So
Yeah.
potentially the winner and loser in a fight can both grab the initial 1 reputation
Yeah,
before calculating
yeah.
Yeah,
anything.
man.
Okay,
Sometimes the loser can draw 4 in that situation and be
got
like,
it.
"Hey, that wasn't too bad." I mean, yeah, you can see it like they have a reputation of being super brave or having a valiant fight, whatever. Even
Mhm.
understand what the actual lore behind it is, but I think it's a balancing mechanic, to be honest.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
also it drives the fight. But let's say that you do this secretly, of course, so nobody sees it. So yellow got to draw this. Imagine you will probably take the 3. Then you'll move here. Follow me here.
And so the player
You
who
see how
draws
there's
it's allowed to look at it, right? Or do they have to wait till end of game to look at it?
no,
They,
you can look at it.
they choose from, say, if they drew 2 like that, they would look at both of them, choose the higher one probably,
Yeah.
and then stick it on their board.
Do you see
Okay,
how
so
there's little
these so
shield?
wait, sorry. So these numbers here represent how many you draw and you choose the one you want and only take 1.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's the highest point. You want
Nice.
to go for
Okay,
the
got
Yes.
it.
points,
Yeah.
basically.
Right.
So it's and you see how they have shields?
Yeah.
That's later on. So in this case, you can only have a max of 4 reputation tiles ever.
Okay.
Uh,
So
on
if
the
it's
board.
full, you might want to you draw, and you can basically replace
But this is
one of
this is
a
the difficult thing.
1.1 or whatever. Yeah.
This is the difficult decision because do you see how there's also a different shape in here,
Yeah.
right? That because this one also holds that shape. These are ambassador slots. I don't know if we've talked
No,
about
not
it.
yet. Not yet. All right.
But ambassador slots is basically when you have contact with an opponent. Let's hypothetically say that you moved into this sector, right?
Yeah.
And this is your home. Let's put a little. We're gonna refresh the mod anyway. You see how your sector is now connected to his sector.
Yeah.
You can actually have what's it called? But you can ally. You can essentially say, "Hey, would you like to become my ally? Would you like to exchange ambassadors?" Then you'd be like, "Yeah, why not?" A lot of people do that early game. Is you exchange an ambassador, so you give the blue, and you'll give a yellow. And what it does, it basically does. Normally, you'll put it on top here because you don't want to fill up one of your reputation spots, right? Only if you have to. But yeah. So you put that there. Then you get 1 victory point at the end of the game, and you can choose any one of your resources. So you can choose either to put an orange population cube, a pink population cube.
What do you want?
Yeah, it's like a trade. You're like establishing a
Great.
trade, so you're getting benefit from that. Do you understand that, Steve? Are you still following me?
I have 2 questions about that.
Yeah.
I understand that putting the cube there is good because you're revealing more of an income here, but does putting the cube here do anything else?
No, it doesn't. It's like essentially, well, the actual move which you'll be doing is doing this. You'll give
Getting cubes out is very good there. So.
Got it. And my other question is,
my other
question is, if at any time you have conflict with that player that gave you the ambassador, does that do anything to reverse?
You become a traitor. Your cube goes back, and you lose 2 points.
What if the other person's the instigator?
Then they are the traitor. Whoever instigated.
Okay.
Yeah.
Whoever holds a traitor card cannot create new alliances until they've lost the traitor, until there's a new traitor.
And I'm sorry.
So that's also.
I think you said it, but I might have missed it. And you also lose the ambassador token, right?
Yes.
Yeah, of course you lose that.
So
does the person who wasn't the traitor in the conflict also have to give back the ambassador token?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Everybody.
The deal's broken.
So the only difference is the one person who instigated gets the traitor card. Then okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
2 points is quite a lot.
Yeah. They can't make any new alliances with anybody until they lose the traitor card.
And everyone shouts boo at them.
How do they have to?
So they can't. You can't create any. You can't get any. You can't exchange an ambassador. So let's say that blue got the traitor card. He can't be like, "Hey, green, do you want to exchange ambassadors?" No, because you're the traitor. You can't.
Right, but is that still end of game, or does he have to? Can he fix that?
Someone else breaks one alliance, then they take the traitor.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, everybody remembers the earlier, right? Like everybody forgot that, and everybody hates Japan. Meanwhile, like the colonists were like fucking up all of Asia. Well, anyways,
I think there's only one last thing: is these ancients and the GCD mess. Oh, I think that's what you call it, GC, wherever it is. Basically, you fight them as normal. If you go in here, it pins all ships, and that's the ship you'll be fighting. As you can see, 4 initiative. It's got 2 plasma cannons, a computer, and a shield, and 4 hill. 4 hill.
So this is like an NPC, right?
Bloody hell. Yeah, exactly. And this one's a smaller NPC. I think this is an advanced one, maybe. It's pretty good. 2 missiles, so it's pretty big. And there'll be other ones that come out, and you'll be able to see how easy or hard they are to fight.
Do these move, or do they just stay
in
this?
No, they just stay there, yeah.
And
ready for you
what rewards do you get aside from the benefits of the system?
You get the system. You'll get the discovery tile. You'll get points for destroying it as well. You know, like as in any normal battle.
Right,
so yeah, they're really good. They're getting there quick.
If you want any recommendation is if you see agents, try to destroy them, because in the game, these little things here, can be game breaking sometimes.
What does
the
this
game,
symbol mean down here? What is this?
You get free,
like a free
cruiser.
Cruiser.
I think it's
but look, there's other nice stuff like an orbital, get resources. But the things that I love the most in this game, look, 8 resources,
money,
it's ancient tech. They're always only one of those techs. They're extremely rare and extremely overpowered things. It could be different things in this case, right? This is a shield.
So what does this mean, for example? Like you're giving the enemy a -1, and then what is that?
And this means you heal through combat health. So essentially, like, let's say that this ship at the end of combat, we were here, had retained 1 damage, right? He still had health over.
Yeah.
Right? The end of all combat, he heals. So if every combat was over,
1 damage or all damage?
All damage. But let's
hypothetically
say that you have.
Is there any other way to heal?
Yes. This is the only way to heal.
We didn't add at the end of the combat. Any ships that survive all just heal automatically, but that one basically it heals each combat roll. Does that make sense?
Cool. Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah, but this is very rare tech. You'll cross that bridge when you get there. And
any questions, feel free to flip it and show us and ask us and that. But there's a whole page of them.
Yeah, here.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
I think I get the basics. That's nice.
Yeah. And there's a whole page of explains all the text as well. So I'll reset to the mod. I think we're pretty much there, aren't we?
One more last thing.
Ship. Sorry, I clicked load.
The combat on planets. That's very. I think.
Sorry about that.
Combat on planets. What about planets?
Yeah. So combat like on planets, like let's just grab it quickly. I just want to show you because some people. That's why that one technology is really important. Okay, here. Let's say that a ship came into my sector. Um, and at the end of combat, you fight against people's population, right?
Right.
So you have to roll. In this case, it's kind of a lost cause because you just roll one dice, and sixes means you remove one cube, right? In this case, because he only hits on sixes.
Mhm.
But let's say that he has computers who roll on fives and sixes. You could just remove one cube. So in this case, he wants to remove a orange one. It will go here. You destroy one of my orange cubes. It doesn't go back on my track. It goes to the middle. Because at the end of combat phase, we do resources. I don't know if Stu
Yeah,
explained to you.
yeah.
Yeah, so you get your orange first, then you know what I mean. Like in this case, let's say I did all these moves. I have to pay 2. I'm earning 3, so I have a positive of 1, and then you earn all those other resources, and then this goes back to the track.
3 take away
Do you
2.
see how? Yeah. Do you? Yeah, you did. Take away 2 here.
So you only put that
You
back
see,
after you get your income.
Once
yes,
you've,
exactly.
yeah,
So
exactly.
this is different than decolonizing. In war, you still get 1 round of like benefiting from
Yeah.
any population.
Wait, just
Not the end of
rewind
the
for
world.
1 second. So this green ship was
Yeah,
supposed to be like, let's say it's a ship of another color, is what you're saying.
yeah, yeah,
And it came
yeah.
in,
It's
and I'm sorry, how do you defend against something if you're just on the
you
with
don't.
no?
Don't. That's if you're in this situation, it's kind of fucked up, my friend. It's
So
like
if you had a
Wait, so
spare,
so so what
if
does
you
he
had a
have to
spare,
roll to hit the planet? Sorry, I didn't get that part. What
yeah,
does he
but in
have to
this
roll?
case, he needs to roll a hit, just a normal hit like in combat.
So anything except for a
So
1, basically.
yeah,
well,
and
no,
that's
well, yeah, well, yeah, exactly. If you have computers, right? Like this guy here hits on sixes. This guy hits on fives and sixes. This guy hits also on fives and sixes. If this guy had another plus 1 computer, he would roll on 4 fives
yeah,
and sixes. But the issue with this whole situation is you
that
only
that's
get to remove 1, right?
that's why
1
you've got
planet.
this react one. So if someone does this when you've passed, as an example, hopefully maybe you've got some materials left, and then you control that system. You could go, oh shit, I'm going to build a flipping starbase in there,
Yeah.
and you put your starbase out, and then at least you can fight for it. But yeah, exactly.
Well,
Wait,
yeah, well, in
so
this case,
so
you
so
wouldn't have
so
time for that because that would have been after combat, let's
so
say, right?
if his
Yeah,
ship
yeah, yeah.
if his ship had no modifications, he would have to roll a 6 to hit one of these planets.
I do. It's the worst. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like this is very impossible. And
That's
even if he would hit, you would just remove 1, and then next round you can just recolonize that thing with one of your colony
Okay, so
ships.
like hitting planets is
So,
not efficient then.
well,
why they've
unless
got
you,
tech called neutron bombs and all that
yeah,
kind of stuff. But anyway, I think we're yeah,
yeah, unless you have bigger ships with more cannons, right, and better hitting
yeah.
ratio, and this technology. This is the most important technology if you want to be fighting against people and actually doing damage to their home systems.
Got
Yeah,
it.
we can start.
Guys,
People
Uh,
tend to forget.
it's gonna take me 60 seconds, but I'm gonna run and grab a cup of coffee in my kitchen and then I'm ready to begin. So I'll be right back. Thank you so much for teaching. Give me 2 seconds.
Sorry.